The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Central Fire and Medical Arizona, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 37278. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Starting on the face of the front bumper on the passenger and driver side, you'll find dual air horns. Just inside that location on the passenger side, you'll find your electronic siren and PA speaker. There are 2 tow hooks protruding out the front of the front bumper. These are direct pull 6,000 pounds and not intended for towing. Moving over to the driver's side of the face of the front bumper, mechanical siren. Moving up onto the top of the bumper extension on the passenger side, you'll find a swivel discharge. D-handle gains you access into the covered storage area for your front bumper hose load. On the cab face, on the outer edge, you'll find a marker turn indicator. Just inside that is the headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights, high beam located on the inside. Just above that is the emergency warning light cluster forward facing. And then behind the Pierce logo, there is a release mechanism for the hood. Moving up onto the windshield, there are 3 windshield wipers across the seamless one-piece windshield. And as we move to the top section inside the cab, and the very top is where you'll find the HOS system. This is your traffic avoidance collision information module. Moving to the outer edge, you'll find a mirror housing flat and convex mirrors. Up to the brow are the 5 identification clearance lights. And then just above that on the roof, forward-facing floodlight. Moving up onto the roof, emergency warning light bar. In the very center, you'll find a go light, which is controlled inside the cab. This is your cab spotlight. Let's go ahead and take a look at some close-ups of the front bumper area. First side, where you'll find a side-facing recessed emergency warning light. As we move up onto the top section, it's where you'll find the front bumper discharge. It is foam capable. And then as we look to the center, you'll find your hose storage location, dry deck material inside. As we move to the Pierce logo, directly behind, reach for the latch for gaining access into the hood area. On the passenger side is where you'll find the fill location for your windshield wiper fluid. As we move over to the driver's side, you'll find the coolant reservoir. You'll also find a placard on the back vertical wall. This is information here about your cab lift instructions for operating to raise and lower. You'll also find a hidden switch. This is your door locks. And then also you'll find part of the cab tip. This is the activation button. Moving just down to the right, you'll find a protected red cover. That is the switch for raise or lower. To the right, power steering location, visual sight gauge indicator, difficult to see in that image. Full view of the side of the vehicle. Let's take a look at the cab section, starting first with your front axle. Alcoa wheel, Michelin tires, and a visual sight gauge in the center of the axle area. As we move to the front bumper extension, recessed emergency warning light. As we move now up to the door handles, you'll find easily accessible with a gloved hand, and they also have a keyed locking system. Right next to that, the grab handle for gaining entry and exit into the cab, and then a push-button digital combination lock for gaining access to your electric door locks. Right next to it, your shoreline inlet. Directly above that is a side-facing cab scene light. We'll now move to the pump panel area. We'll identify a few items within this area, but first let's start with the full body section. Starting first, just in front of the rear axle is a marker turn indicator light. Just up from that location, a few pan doors. First, this is your DEF fill location. As we move to the rear of the axle, this will be your ultra low sulfur diesel fill location. And then directly over the axle, side-facing emergency warning light, part of the lower zone. There are 2 pan doors located here. These are for SCBA bottle storage. We'll come back to these in a moment. We also have 2 emergency warning lights, one in front and one in rear of the body. And directly in the center, you'll find a side-facing scene light. Let's move around to the rear of the apparatus next. The tail light cluster houses at the very top an emergency warning light, brake light, turn, and reverse light. As we move up, we do have an additional ladder located here. This will extend outward and drop down for gaining access to the dunnage and hosebed area. We also have two rear-facing scene lights, and then just above that, two emergency warning lights rear-facing. As we move toward the center, you'll find a 2.5-inch discharge. This is going to be the driver's side rear discharge. Also a recessed camera, and then just above that you'll also find your traffic advisor, which is also recessed. As we move to the D handle on the rear of the body, this is going to gain your access for your ground ladder storage. And then just up from this location, this is where we're going to find our rigid suction hoses. There are two located in this upper compartment. As we move around to the side, you'll find on the passenger side you have a vertical exhaust stack. We'll go over that in just a few moments. And then also on the cab, we have a side-facing camera. As we move to the body section, pretty much the same configuration and layout as we have on the driver's side. Let's go ahead and move now into the cab section, starting at the driver's area. First, affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information, combination door lock and latch, electric window controls for all cab windows, and a grab handle. As we move to the stepwell area, moving into the driver's space, you'll find an air inlet located in the lower section. Let's move up to the floor area, where you'll find at the base of the seat a battery voltage charger. When plugged into Shoreline Power, this will become active. You'll also find about the right ankle of the operator this yellow placard on the tunnel, which has the date of manufacture, 5-digit job number, gross vehicle weight rating, cold tire inflation, the VIN number, all of the fluid capacities for each component, fluid capacity, and also fluid type. On the floor, you'll find a air horn and mechanical siren foot pedal. As we move up to about the left knee of the operator, you'll find your engine, transmission, ABS diagnostic port, tech module, and display port. This is for your maintenance team. As we move down, you'll find ABS diagnostics, DPF regen, engine diagnostics switch, and also regen inhibit switch. Let's go ahead and move up to the dash cluster. Starting first on the left with the four-way flashers or hazard lights, start ignition switch. Also, as we move just inside, you'll find a switch labeled EM, which stands for Emergency Master. This engage and disengages all emergency lights. Headlight switch and a panel switch allowing you to brighten or dim lights within preview of the operator dash. On the opposite side, OK to engage your high idle indicator and switch. As we move up, you'll find the transmission, oil, depth level, and water temp gauges. On the right, front air, rear air, fuel, and volts. Located in the center, you're going to find the tachometer and speedometer. Diagnostic information displays above and below the speedometer and tachometer. Let's move just to the right of the operator's position. We'll start first the yellow diamond, which is the pull-to-plier system parking brake. As we move just to the right of that location, you'll find your command zone, tremendous amount of information right here at your fingertips, touchscreen and function buttons. Please see the owner's manual for more information. Allison transmission pad, informational note to pump in drive. Also, we have some switches for engine brake on and off, settings for low, medium, and high, and also mirror heat. You'll also find the pump shift located here. There are instructions for its operation from road to pump, and then also instructions from pump to road. There are two green indicators, one pump engaged and the second OK to pump. Both these indicators need to be illuminating green for pump operations before exiting the cab. To the right, you'll find your mirror controls for the left and right mirror. And just forward of this location, you'll find a lock and unlock switch for your compartments. As we move forward, climate control for heat, air conditioning, and defrost. And then moving from this location, let's go overhead of the operator position. We'll take a look at this yellow placard indicating the height of the vehicle, 11 feet 1 inch, length of the vehicle, 33 feet 4.25 inches, gross vehicle weight rating, 52,500 pounds. This also has the 5-digit job number located. If you make any adjustments to your vehicle that may affect these indicators, please update this placard. As we move to the right, you'll find the Emergency Master, roof light, front warning, side warning. The red is a siren brake for your mechanical siren. rear warning, high beam flash, and air horn. Moving further to the right, you'll find additional switches for front flood master, driver scene, passenger scene, and rear scene. As we move down to the next, these are for that visor light for spot flood, narrow flood, and wide flood. Also, ground lights are located on the far right. You'll also find your siren control and PA speaker system module. Moving further to the right is your traffic advisor. As we move to the center section between the officer and driver seat at the ceiling level, you'll find at the forward windshield behind this plate, this is your HOS system for collision avoidance. You'll also find seatbelt information displayed here, red indicating someone's in the seat and not belted, green they're in the seat and belted. We do have an indicator here for do not move your apparatus when the light is on, indicating you have a compartment or door open. As we look to the rear cab wall, you'll find two forward-facing seats. Behind the driver's seat is where you'll find the manual cab tilt handle. As we move back to the exterior, this is the push button for your lock control and then also your shoreline inlet. As we move down, as we previously said, Michelin tires, Alcoa wheel, and a visual sight gauge indicator. Let's move toward the rear section of the cab area. We'll start first with the door panel. Affixed to that panel is your warning and safety information placard, electric window control, door lock and latch, and also a grab handle. Overhead, you'll find your air conditioning unit and also push on and off white or red lens lights. As we move to the seat configuration, we have two forward-facing and two rear-facing seats. In between the two forward-facing seats, you'll find storage location, cup holder, and also 12-volt access. As we move to the forward section, you'll find your access location for your daily checks for oil and transmission. The two forward-facing seats do sit on a pedestal, and then just underneath that pedestal is where you'll find additional storage. Let's go ahead and move behind the officer seat where you'll find a covered storage location that has ventilation. This is for your unit radio. And then we'll go ahead and move back to the exterior. Let's go to the rear of the cab wall on both passenger and driver side. You have two pole lights on the passenger and driver side. As we move now to the midsection, you'll find your crosslays. They are three located here. Crosslay 1, crosslay 2, and a 2.5 inch. All of these are foam capable. As we move to the right, a warning placard indicating entanglement hazard because those lines coming from aloft, there's the possibility of entanglement. We also have an audible speaker located here. The outer edge of that bezel does rotate for brightening or dampening the sound. This is the pump intake master gauge, and as we move to the right, you'll find your pump discharge master gauge. In between the two of those, test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. They're currently plugged and are utilized for testing purposes. As we move down, all of our color-coded and labeled discharges, in addition with your Pierce pump test information. This is the minimum operation maintenance schedule, and we'll go over that in just a few moments. As we move to the right, you'll find your pressure throttle governor. Moving further down from this location, we're going to find your Husky 3 foam system specifications and also system instructions. We do have a visual indicator for check transmission with an amber light, and then just to the right you're going to find your water tank level indicator, and then further to the right in the red module, this is the foam tank level indicator. Let's move further down on the pump panel and just slightly to the left where you'll find a warning placard here indicating pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure, be cautious when opening them. We also have a switch panel with an indicator to OK to pump indicator, and then also additional switches for lighting. At the very top, we have our tank, fill, and recirculating line. Just underneath that is the primer, push to prime air, minimum 1,000 RPMs for best practices. Also, tank to pump located at the bottom, and to the right, your Husky 3 foam module. There are instructions for its operation on the module itself. As we move down, engine cooler, this will twist, not pull. And as we move down further to the left-hand side of the pump panel at the lowest section, you'll find a warning placard here indicating only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment only after proper training.
This is also the location for the driver auxiliary inlet, locally controlled ball valve 2.5 female. Engine cooler drain. As we move just to the right, this is going to be our main pump inlet on the driver's side. And then across the very bottom, color-coded and labeled discharge drains. Let's move just to the right of this location, where I'll find a warning placard here indicating do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. This is our draft foam tank lever. As we move to the right, we have a lift and turn latch will gain you access to the back section of the pump. We'll go over that in just a moment behind the panel. We do have a placard here for the type of pump you have, which is a Hale brand, and then also a main pump drain. We have an additional warning indicating fall hazard. When climbing on or off the vehicle, always face the vehicle. Close up here of the color-coded and labeled discharge drains. Let's go back to the pan door now. When you open and access this, you'll find the yellow handle in the very back. It coincides with the handle instructions located on the placard on the back side of the door. This is either for vertical position or horizontal position, depending on what mode you'd like to have your foam system in. Close up here of the Hale placard, and then also minimum operation maintenance schedule for the 150, 200, and 250 test pressure. On the left, associated GPM at that test pressure, and on the right, the associated RPM. We do have a 5-digit job number, and also, while in pump mode, a governed speed of 2,100 RPMs. Just below the running board, you'll find the foam pump discharge drain and foam pump intake drain, and then also your tank drain for your main water tank. Let's go ahead and move into the compartments next. First, starting with, there are 3 shelves located in this compartment. They are all adjustable. And then as we move to the very bottom, a pull-out tray where the release mechanism is located on the right. As you can see, there's a drop for electrical here. As we move now to the axle area, compartments are open. Let's start first with 2 SCBA bottle storage locations just in front of the rear axle. As we move down, you'll find the blue cap, which is our diesel exhaust fluid. This is the DEF fill location for 4.5 US gallons. As we move downward to the rear axle, once again, Michelin tires, Alcoa wheel. Let's move back up to the rear of the axle where you'll find additional SCBA bottle storage for 2 bottles here. As we move down, this is the fill location for the ultra low sulfur diesel, which would be a silver cap. Moving toward the rear portion of the apparatus, last compartment now, we have some adjustable shelves and also a pull-out tray. This is a through compartment from the passenger to the driver's side. On this side, we have a pull-out tray release located on the lower right-hand side. All compartment doors open. Let's move around now to the rear of the apparatus and we'll identify a few items within this area. Compartment doors open and ladder deployed. Let's start first on the left with a pinch point for your hands here, and then also a warning regarding fall hazard. When climbing on or off the vehicle, it's important to face the vehicle. We have some additional warnings here regarding warning pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. That's because we have that 2.5-inch discharge. And then also because of the hose bed, we have an entanglement warning because those lines coming from aloft. And then also on the very far right, never ride on the vehicle while it's in motion. As we move down, you'll find an adjustable shelf and then also a tray in the very bottom section. The tray operates on a release mechanism on the right. It will lock into position once it's pulled outward. As we move back up to the very top section, you'll find your 10-foot folding ladder and then also your rigid drafting tubes, 24-foot extension and a 14-foot roof, and also backboard storage location. As we move around now to the passenger side, we'll find a pull-out tray with a vertical tool board located in the center area. Moving forward to this location, oxygen bottle and SCBA bottle. There are 4 SCBA bottle and 2 oxygen bottle storage locations here with retaining straps for your SCBAs. Moving back down to your wheel, Alcoa wheel and a Michelin tire. As we move back up, this is a close-up of the bottle storage location just to the front of the rear axle. As we move to the next compartment forward, we have 3 adjustable shelves, 1 full depth and 2 half depths due to that ladder storage location. We're now at the pump panel area, and at the very back section of the cab wall, we're going to find a pole light. And then as we look to the crosslays, same configuration as we saw on the driver's side. There are 3 located here, all foam capable. We do have a warning here regarding fall. Once again, when climbing onto the vehicle, always face it. And then an extremely hot diesel exhaust warning. Please be cautious where you park your vehicle, especially during regen operations. As we move to the pump panel, you'll find the number 4 passenger side discharge. It's locally controlled via ball valve. And then also a warning regarding pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. We do have a switch on this side for the passenger side pole light. And then as we move to the very bottom section, you'll find a pan door located here. And then also your large diameter pump inlet. Behind the pan door is where you're going to find the relief valve set screw. And then at the very bottom section, we're going to find all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. As we move up from this location, passenger side auxiliary inlet, locally controlled ball valve, and also is a female inlet. Let's go ahead and move now into the cab section, rear portion of the cab. As we look inside, overhead, our air conditioning unit, and also push on and off white or red lens lights. Once again, the rear configuration is 4 seat positions, 2 forward facing and 2 rear facing. Let's go ahead and move to the exterior now, where you'll find your push button lock for the combination and also the side facing camera. Alcoa wheel, Michelin tire, and in the center a visual sight gauge into that axle area. Also, as we move now to the officer space, let's start first with the door panel, which is affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch combination, electric window control, and a grab handle. As we move inside to the cab area, let's start first overhead. Push on and off white or red lens lights in this area also. And as we move to the dash area, we have a raised dash for adding additional equipment with a chase underneath there. You'll also find these red and white spare wiring behind panel placards. They're indicating where the wire location is, the option number, and what was intended use for it. Please don't remove those until your maintenance team has had a chance to review. Also, you'll find a map book light located on the A pillar. As we move now to the overhead portion on the officer side, you'll find your Go Light control module. This is located once again on the officer side. And then you'll find the front flood master, driver scene, passenger scene, and rear scene. Once again, that front flood master controls the spot flood, narrow flood, wide flood, and then also we have a switch here for ground lights. We do have an additional switch panel. Let's start with a load manager, an air horn, and then also a siren brake for your mechanical siren. Moving just to the left, we have additional storage pockets, and then a full view of the apparatus with all compartment doors open on the driver's side. Let's go ahead and go up onto the top of the apparatus. We'll identify a few items. I would like to point out we do have a no step area located here. This is a non-walking surface. Also, as we look inside the hose bed area, single hose bed divider. It is movable from side to side. We do have hatch compartments, both passenger and driver side. Dry deck material inside. As we look to the forward compartment here, you'll find inside this compartment, when plugged into Shoreline Power, this is your battery charger for maintaining batteries for your vehicle. Also, as we move toward the dunnage section, this is the top fill location for your water tank fill, and then also top fill location for your foam tank fill. Just a reminder, there is a warning. Do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. As we move through the rest of these hatch compartments, dry deck material and also LED lighting inside. Let's move forward now this location into the dunnage area. And we'll identify a few items in this area. First, this is the location for your master stream and also the valve for that master stream and your Husky 3 hydraulic reservoir. Open and close here on the wheel valve for your master stream device. Also access to the rear tank area for your maintenance team. As we move forward to this location, these are the cross lays. As we move to the cab forward position, this is a non-walking surface, and that's why we have these additional placards indicating that this is a slippery surface. The rest of the images are going to be that of the cab tilted, of the chassis, engine, and transmission and undercarriage area. These are your tow hooks for towing the vehicle. Also, as we move through this compartment, I'd just like to remind everyone, when you're in the process of tilting your cab, once the cab is fully tilted, place the safety bar into position. At that point, do not lower the cab onto the safety bar. Maintain equal pressure on both right and left cylinders. As we move through the next images, I'd like to point out this is your fuel filter. You have a shutoff before and after the filter. Moving up, you'll find at the rear of the engine your oil and transmission dipsticks and also fill locations. As we move to the battery box on the driver's side, you'll find the jumper studs just in the lower section. You'll also find a hydraulic reservoir for the cab tilt. The next additional images are for your awareness of what's underneath your vehicle, and also to help with identifying items for training purposes. There will be no audio from this point on. This concludes the additional images. We do have a short video of your emergency lights on a quick walk around. Congratulations, Central Arizona Fire and Medical, Arizona, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 37278. If you have any questions regarding your vehicle, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.